Call all Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Kakadash. That is all praises to the Most High in the name of the Son and the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, taught us His truth. Salutation and blessings to the hopeful like Akim. All right, I want to get into one of the profound statements that Elder Muwatazak brought out a couple weeks ago at the camp session that stated that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the main perpetrator of forced assimilation, of forcing his ways and his culture on the people that he's conquered in history, okay? And it's coming straight out of the most potent historical source that you can get, which is the scriptures, and specifically the Apocrypha. And then we're going to show you how he's ultimately going to attempt to do this again by putting a device in all mankind on the earth to have them under his control, okay? It's likened into forced assimilation, technologically, okay? And really, it's like biotechnologically, and according to the technocracy. All right, that's how he's going to. And look, when it talks about his one world order, the one world government, all this his so-called new system. All right, that goes into him pretty much, and we're going to get into the scriptures, opposing himself against the Most High, exalting himself above all that is called the Most High, in one final act to attempt to be the Most High, man, okay, by chipping the population. All right, but we're going to get it. The first account, we're going to start kind of in the middle, because right here in America, it was done to our forefathers here on the shores of America, where our ancestors' blood from all 12 tribes was spilled right here, okay? Originally, the Northern Kingdom, when the so-called white man stepped over here, and then when the Southern Kingdom was brought here on cargo slave ships. All right. Forced assimilation is an involuntary process of cultural assimilation of religious or ethnic minority groups, during which they are forced to adopt language, identity, norms, mores, customs, traditions, values, mentality, perceptions, way of life, and often religion and ideology of established and generally larger community belonging to dominant culture by government. Okay? So, we'll get into this. Culture assimilation is the process in which a minority group or culture comes to resemble a society's majority group by or assume the values, behaviors of another group, whether fully or partially. Okay? So this is likened to a full forced cultural assimilation, is what this man has done in history, the so-called white man, when he's taken over people. Because generally, the conquerors of a people allow them, they force them to pay tribute, but they allow you to at least keep your identity and your fucking worship your God, okay, and practice your own customs. For example, when we were in Egypt, when the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt, they didn't have to shave their beards off and their crowns and be bald and hairless and and get tatted and follow their customs and shit. we were still allowed to, they worked us to the bone, but, and tortured us and did other shit like that. But we were still allowed to keep our customs, all right? Our culture. But the so-called devil the Bible speaks of didn't allow that, give that privilege. It is not even a privilege. It's almost likened it to like a Most High given right as a fucking man. Okay, he didn't afford the Israelites that luxury. Okay, and this is when he came over here, the so-called white man, to the New World, Canada, America, and then fucking South America and Central America, slaughtering the indigenous tribes, inhabitants that were dwelling over here. What he did with the leftovers, he forced assimilated. He forced assimilation, cultural assimilation, upon those people, upon the ones that he didn't destroy. Because we're going to go into a little article how it was a war on the children after long, because what they couldn't do much with a full-grown Indian man or Slakia, a full-grown Gadite, or any of the tribes that were over here practicing their customs. He couldn't get them to assimilate, so he just had to kill them. So it was a war on the children, okay? And we have the images right here, the proof of the forced assimilation by this man, okay? From how they wore their hair, to how they sat, how they carried themselves. Look at that. He had to cross his legs. You see, an effeminate trait of the white man. Okay, their attire, how and where they lived. Okay, and this is a wake. This is during the wake of new reports that have been revealed of thousands of Native American children graves that are being discovered across Canada in the United States, man. Okay. Of children that were murdered by the hands of these different boarding schools and fucking missions. All right, where they stole, kidnapped Native American children from their families, or murdered their families, and took them and forced cultural assimilation on them, man. Okay. And you can see how broken they are once they had to assimilate. And it's fucking insane, because it's been revealed that it was all those missions and boarding schools were smorgasbords for those pedophiles, those priests and parishioners, because the missions and boarding schools were widely funded and supported by the Catholic Church. Okay, so they were freaking off on these children relentlessly. Okay, see, borderline torture. Okay. Made him pray to the white Jesus. That's a damning picture right here. Had him praying to the white Jesus, man. No doubt they had Cesare up there, because it was of a Catholic origin, and we know how mired the history of these different Catholic archdioceses. We know how mired their history is with children sexual abuse. Okay? And who's done these things, man? Esau, Edom. Okay? It says, the American Indian reporter, kill the Indian, save the man. All right? It says, on June 22nd, 21, the Secretary of the Interior, Deborah Haaland, announced the Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative directing the Department of the Interior by secretarial memorandum to undertake an investigation of the loss of human life and lasting consequences of the Federal Indian Boarding School system. Okay. For nearly 2 centuries, the federal government was responsible for operating or overseeing Indian boarding schools across the U.S. and its territories. Today, the department is therefore uniquely positioned to assist in the effort to recover the histories of these institutions. Okay. Here, let's get this historical perspective. That's why I pulled this. With the founding of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School in 1879, the U.S. government launched an effort in what is now called cultural genocide, where Indian children were taken away from their families and put into boarding schools for 3 or more years. As long as U.S. Indian service teacher and agent Albert H. Neal noted in his autobiography, Indian Agent, Caxton, 1950, the U.S. government went on the assumption that any Indian custom was per se objectionable, whereas the customs of whites were always of civilization. Students were often punished for speaking their native languages, and concerted effort was made during most of the early history of these schools to eradicate their students' Indianness. However, as recent research shows, the U.S. government was only partially successful. Shit. So, what do you think was done to the child if assimilation was unsuccessful? They would just put him to death. You can imagine how it is. And it's crazy because there's a lot of reports coming out of these mental institutions that were so widely operated in the like the middle century, mid 1900s in fucking America. Okay, early to mid 1900s in America, they were putting to death black and Hispanic children. Okay, that they couldn't get to obey. All right, under the auspices that they were mentally ill. All right, so this country is guilty on every account. This country's history is filthy with stories of murder and genocide and rape and robbery and just horrific acts to our people, man. It says in Slovakia, 2 new books focus on Sherman Institute in Riverside, California, which opened in 1902 as an Indian boarding school and still operating today as Sherman Indian High School, a modern off-reservation boarding school for Native American Indian students. In the edited book, Boarding School Blues, Revisiting American Indian Educational Experiences, it says, the American Indian boarding school experience is layered with deep meaning that cannot be understood simply by framing the school's administrators and teachers as good or evil. It says, let's jump down. It says, the white man concluded, David Adams concludes his book, Education for Extinction, American Indians and the Boarding School Experience. See? And that's why do you think these people have been reduced to such small numbers? Our tribe, our brethren tribe of Gad and Reuben, okay? Because this nigga damn near wiped them out, man. This fucking madman over here. The white man concluded that the only way to save Indians was to destroy them, and the last great Indian war should be waged against children. They were coming for the children, okay? He says, but a funny thing happened on the way to assimilation via the ABCs. As a generation of scholarship was received, schools became places where the construction of identity was deeply contested, where time and time again Indian people proved both more receptive to learning and more resilient in cultural contextualizing than policymakers ever imagined. And that's those Jakes that, because it talks about how we're going to get it in the Maccabees, how when this happened before, when the so-called white man came into power during the time of the Greeks, that he forced his ways upon all the world, okay? The white man's ways upon the entire kingdom that was ruled by Greece, man, by the Greeks, and those four generals. But Salakia and Antiochus at that time was actually far removed from the four generals, but it was that same culture. It was the culture of the Greeks, fucking Edomite culture. All right, which they have no culture. It's a filthy, disgusting way of life. All right. But just as you had it in that time, Jakes that fucking fell right into that assimilation and were with it. They were with the way of the heathen. So you have some Jakes that damn do it better than the damn heathen, man. So that could, what you could attribute that to. All right, the ones that were receptive to the assimilation. Okay, but that's good. I mean, we can go in and out on the atrocities, man, that were linked to this. I'll get a little bit more of them. It says, my relatives went to a Catholic school for Native children. It was a place of horrors. It says, after the discovery of 751 unmarked graves at the site of a former school for Native children in Canada, it is time to investigate similar abuses in the U.S. So you're telling me that that's an isolated event? That just one fucking boarding school killed 750 Gadites and buried them, and that was it, and there's no more victims? Okay, this country, this side of the world is rampant. It was rampant at that time, and to the point where this place is completely defiled with the blood of the Israelites, man. Okay, they killed fucking tens of millions of Native Americans, man. Just on the books, just the documented ones. Okay, it says, there's so much mourning Native people have yet to do. The full magnitude of Native suffering has yet to be entirely understood, especially when it comes to the nightmarish legacies of American Indian boarding schools. The purpose of the schools was civilization, but as I have written elsewhere, boarding schools serve to provide access to native land by breaking up native families and holding children hostage so their nations would cede more territory. And it's even deeper than that. When we know about Jacob and Esau, and we know the works of the wicked, man. We know how rotten and just completely evil this man is, man. All right, and how it was for a plethora of reasons why he did this. All right, one being a whipping stick for the Most High to punish our people. Okay, it says, and one of the primary benefactors of the boarding school system is the Catholic Church, which is today the world's largest non-governmental landowner with roughly 177 million acres of property. throughout the globe. Part of the evidence of how exactly the church acquired its wealth in North America is literally being unearthed, and it exists in stories of the American children whose lives it stole, which includes my own family. Fuck. Last month in Tkemloops, Wempek, okay? First Nation made a grisly discovery of 215 children's remains at a burial site next to the former Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia. So you mean to tell me they just slaughtered? And we heard about this. We read about it in the scriptures. Okay. The proof is here. All right, and it's always been here. And the Most High is going to exact judgment and recompense upon these people, man. Okay? And upon the world. All right, it says remains at a burial site next to former Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia. Okay. And let me get this. There was my relatives called St. Joseph's. Oh shit. It says a lot of people ended up killing themselves. Okay. My relatives, so they're guilty for that too. My relative calls St. Joseph's a smorgasbord for pedophiles and rapists who preyed on and terrorized Native children. He describes beatings and nights of terror as priests took their pick of the children as they slept. The abuse was worse for the girls, who were sometimes impregnated by their rapists, he tells me. His experience was not unique. It had been documented elsewhere by journalists and scholars. Despite the evidence, there's an active conspiracy to silence survivors and whitewash history. South Dakota passed laws to prevent survivors from seeking damages against the church. Yep. It goes on to explain how they, motherfuckers lurking, man. Slovakia. It went on to explain how this U.S. senator, here, I'll fucking read it. It says 8 plaintiffs sued the Sioux Falls Diocese in 2010 for alleged rape and sexual abuse they had experienced in the 1970s at the hands of multiple members of the clergy and one staff member. A photograph of one of them still hangs in the walls of St. Joseph's in the hallway of its school museum, visible to the children and visitors who pass it. And I want to get this because their possessors slay them and hold them not guilty. All right. So all that, the forced cultural assimilation and rape, robbery, and murder that this man did is protected by his laws and shit. Okay. To this day. Just days before the survivors were set to go into court in 2010 to show you it was a setup, the then Republican governor of South Dakota, Mike Rounds, now a U.S. senator, signed a bill into law prohibiting anyone 40 years or older from recovering damages from institutions responsible for their abuse, except from individual perpetrators themselves, so they can go after the individuals but not the archdiocese. So as to not tie more dirt to the Catholic Church, man. It says the act crushed the lawsuit, effectively shielding the Catholic Church from any responsibility or accountability. So this man has made it to where the shit that he's done, he can't be held accountable for it, man. So he's held himself not guilty. But this man is not going to walk away scot-free. The Most High is going to destroy this motherfucker, man. Okay. Let's get this account in First Maccabees. We'll start right here in First Maccabees 1 and 10. And there came out of them a wicked root. Salakia. No, let's start at 1. And it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chethim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persian and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Okay, so this is the emergence of the Greek Empire into world dominance. Okay, this is the advent of the Greek Empire. Okay, they took over the Persian Empire. All right, the Medo-Persian, and then the Persian, which was which pretty much took over. Okay, it says, and he made wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, his heart was lifted up. Okay. Salakia. Let's go after the death of Alexander. It says in verse 9, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth. So after after Alexander died, well, you could just say pretty much when the Greek Empire came into power, that evils were multiplied in the earth. And because these were Edomites, okay? And it's heavy because in the additions to Esther, it ties in Haman, which was fucking an Amalekite advisor to the king. Who's that nigga's name? Who's that nigga's name, man? Haman, the Agagite, right? That nigga was an Agagite, right? Bitch ass nigga. King Ahasuerus, identified as Xerxes the First, or Artaxerxes. Okay. Haman the Agagite was the advisor to this nigga who tried to get him to destroy the Israelites. And it ties that nigga, Haman the Agagite, to Macedon as a Macedonian. And who was Philip? All right. Philip was a Macedonian. So it ties Haman the Agagite, who's an Amalekite, to fucking to the Greeks. And the Amalekites are Edomites. Agagites were fucking Edomites, man. So it's a direct correlation to Amalek, Edom, to Macedonians, man. The one that Philip was. Because they stole that identity of the original Macedonians, man. Okay? They stole a lot of the, of course, land and of the Salakia of shit. That's Satan right there. Was fucking the last son, Japhet, the Japhets, the Japhetic niggas, man. Okay. So these are Edomites, man. When they came into power, evils were multiplied on the earth. All right. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Okay. And he lived during a time called the Hellenistic period in classical antiquity. All right. In the Seleucid Empire, he came out of Seleucus, who was one of the four generals of Alexander. Okay. That had just that just broke down into the the ninth verse that we just read. Yep. His servants, which goes into his generals, man. Okay. It says, jumping down, it says, Salakia, I'll get the verse first. This is jumping down to 1 Maccabees 1, and it's in the 30s, the late 30s, right? Oh, it's in 41. 1 Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. What did we go over? All the things of forced assimilation, cultural assimilation. Okay. The cultures, the language, the laws, the customs, you know what I'm saying? Everything had to be assimilated to the Greek way. Okay. Up here it says in the 35th verse, Slakia, in the Slakia, man. This is in the built a place of worship. This is a long chapter, man. It's way up. Okay. And so much that they fucking built a gym. This was another part of that assimilation. It says, in verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, which is a gymnos, which goes into exercising naked, okay, which is a custom of the heathen, all right? So he forced this Greek way upon all people, so much so as to be punishable by death if it wasn't followed. It says, back in verse 44, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all ordinances, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. Okay. Well, that's the point right there. So he forced the Greek way upon the subjects of that empire, man. All right, of all people that were conquered and taken over, which all the subjects of the Medo-Persians, of the Persian Empire, all the people they took over were now subjects of the Greek Empire, and therefore had to assimilate into their ways. Okay. And then this man did that we just brought out in the time of Slovakia, when he came over here to the Western Hemisphere, man. Okay. Slovakia, when he came over here to the so-called New World. All right. He called it fucking cultural genocide. See? And it's straight out of Micah 2. It says in the second verse, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Okay, like it said, with much wicked oppression, right? Let's see. Psalms 55:3. Because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. Okay. This is a form of oppression. All right. This is a form of ultimate oppression, to force your ways upon the people, man. Okay. Slovakia. Going back to Micah 2:2, and even his heritage. Okay, that's going into your customs and your way of life. Your language is comprised in that as well. All right. They forced us to speak his filthy languages all throughout the different captivities that we've been under him. All right. Look at in the different forms too, because you had different Edomite nations that have done this as well. When you look at the Spanish, okay, when you look at the French, all right, because those were the three primary perpetrators of genocide of the Israelites in the this new age, so to speak, was the British, the French, and the Spanish, who came over here and slaughtered the Israelites. All right, they came out after the Dark Ages, during the Renaissance, the beginning, when they came out of the caves and emerged on the scene. They fucking they came over here to destroy the Israelites, man, and then force those nasty languages on us. English, Spanish, and French. Okay. Amongst all the other ways, shaving our beards, now it's gotten to point to an extreme where a nigga is just a freak. Multicolored hair, tattoos head to toe, bugged out ass piercings, oh man, all kind of weird ass shit, just an abomination. All right. And this is what he's notoriously done in his track record, man. This is in Habakkuk 2:4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not right upon him, because but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Okay? To the spirit, I want to get this word heapeth, because it's got to be more than just he oppresses them, and he brings them all together, like it into like a melting pot. wherever you go, he's trying to do that shit. But it's under the American way. When you look at Americanization, the nigga's doing that right now. This piece of shit is doing that right fucking now under what you call Americanization, which is forcing the American fucking Edomite way on all the nations of the world, on all the peoples of the world, man. Okay? It's another thing is called the Wolfowitz Doctrine. Where pretty much America is deemed itself the police of the earth. So as that he needs to go around and fucking and police the fucking earth. It says, Wolfowitz Doctrine is an unofficial name given to the initial version of the Defense Planning Guidance for 94 to 99 fiscal years, published by U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Paul Wolfowitz and his deputy Scooter Libby. Not intended for public release, it was leaked to the New York Times March 7, 1992, and sparked a public controversy about U.S. foreign and defense policy. The document was widely criticized as imperialist, as the document outlined a policy of unilateralism and preemptive military action to suppress potential threats from other nations and prevent dictatorships from rising to superpower status. Okay. So it was criticized because as imperialist, which is basically imperialism is a state policy, practice, or advocacy of extending power and dominion, especially by direct territorial acquisition or by gaining political and economic control over other areas, often through employing hard power, economic and military power, but also soft power, cultural and diplomatic power. Okay, that's what this nigga has done throughout the world. All right. So let's get that word heapeth. Because a heap is like when you heap, it's likened into treasures or money or gold and shit like that. Like you hoarding, you know, to gather, to assemble. That's heavy because when you assemble something, it's like you assemble an army, right? You're now using them as fucking as puppets, if you will. Okay, taking them under your control. To gather, to take away. Okay, to assemble, to collect, to grasp. Okay. Gone. Let's jump back to these precepts. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay. So the Most High is going to destroy this motherfucker for his deeds and acts of atrocity across this planet. Okay. In an act of heaping yourself nations into yourself. Because why wouldn't it just say it gathered the nations into itself? It says it heapeth unto him all people. That's likened unto you assimilating them. Okay. Because he could have just gathered them, but no, he forced his fucking wicked ways upon them. All right. So much so as to accuse us, the Israelites, to the Heavenly Father, to say, look, they're not keeping the laws, but they're keeping the ways that he fucking forced upon them, to show you what a demon this motherfucker is, man. All right. And he's going to attempt to do this through physical means, through total control. This is in Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Jumping up to verse 15, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast, and you can interchange that for not take this mark in their hand, should be killed. Okay? Just like during the time of the Maccabees in the Hellenistic era, when Antiochus forced cultural assimilation upon all subjects of the Greek Empire, under the penalty of death. Okay, he's going to do this shit again, now in the form of, biotechnological tyranny, for you to put this fucking injectable in your hand or your forehead, and for it to completely control you. Because if you know anything about it, with the biometrics and the nanotech and everything, the ability of these things to completely control you and to have complete tabs on you. All right. But you see, the Most High, and this is what we'll finish off with, the Most High has other plans for this man. This is in Job 20 and 23. When he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So when this motherfucker has implemented his plans for his new world order, his great reset, which is pretty much culminates in the forced injection of a subdermal device into every inhabitant on this planet. Okay? That's when the Most High is going to destroy him through all the methods and means of calamity and destruction that he has set forth for this place. Okay? Natural disasters. Okay? Financial collapse. Fucking Slovakia, because a lot of those are going to be contrived and out of your power as well. But the main forms, the way the Most High is going to rain the destruction upon him is through the thermonuclear missiles, the weapons of the Most High's indignation. Okay, that he's going to cause and work in the minds of all the people with nuclear thermonuclear arsenals to shoot missiles upon Great Babylon. All right. And essentially it's going to cause mutual assured destruction, which is going to essentially and ultimately crush and destroy all the Edomite run territories of the earth. Straight up. Okay. So the Most High is about to thwart this man's plan of forced assimilation upon all the world. Okay? Of ownership. This is going to be his attempt to own all the population of the planet. Okay? And he's going to even accomplish it for a time upon some, because you have 1/3 and 144,000 of the nation of Israel that are not going to take this mark, man. Straight up. Okay? Most High is going to he's going to ultimately destroy this motherfucker, man, and thwart his plan. All right? That's when the Most High is going to have to step in and intervene, even though he even caused this nigga to do what he's done. Okay? So with that, all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh.